Hello and welcome to the ScaleUp Blueprint, where I am going to be talking to you about how to scale up your accountancy or bookkeeping practice. So I'm Della Hudson. I am the founder of two accountancy practices so far, both of which do bookkeeping, but we're mainstream accountants, and author of the award-winning The Numbers Business. So hopefully you'll be able to pick up some useful ideas today. In order to scale up your business, there are an awful lot of things that you need to do. But for me, the most important thing is to systemize everything. This is taking you out of the day-to-day so that the business will run without you. Now, why is that so important? That is important so that you have something that can happen when you're not there. You have something that can be replicated by the rest of your team, because you only have so many hours per day. So we're looking at systemizing everything possible, and then of course put a friendly front end on it. So I want to explain to you how I built not one but two accountancy practices on just 25 hours per week by systemizing, automating and delegating everything possible. It also, when I came to sell the first practice, increased my selling price 32% above the average at that time. So it increases the value of your practice, it allows you to scale up and make more profit, and you can also have a better work-life balance. That sounds like win, win, win to me. So 3 wins just from simple process of systemizing, automating and delegating. Now, I no longer work 25 hours. For the last nearly 2 years now, I've been working 35 hours per week. I know life is hard, but I run 3 businesses. So I run Minerva Accountants still. I also run my speaking, writing consultancy business, which helps accountants and business and bookkeepers like yourself to have a better business. And I have a tiny little side hustle, so perhaps it's sort of 2.5 businesses, Minerva Technology, where we have an app for tax calculators that can be relabeled for accountants. So that's how I spend my time, on just 35 hours per week. So what do we do? What's the secret sauce in this? Well, we have our ScaleUp Blueprint, and I wish I'd had this first time round. Second time round, I do have it, so it's so much easier, and you can have it too. So we start looking at the compliance side of the business, because that's what we do. So we're looking at systemizing all our compliance processes. Now, that may be accounts production, it might be bookkeeping, VAT returns, payroll, whatever it is, but we're going to go through them all. And we're going to start with the biggest one. So if you're an accountant whose main process, main income, most of the time is spent on producing accounts, then you would start with that. If you're a bookkeeper who is, only does the odd set of accounts, you'll focus on your bookkeeping processes and things like that. Remember, we are looking to systemize, automate and delegate. That's the only sad thing about our business. You're going to come up with the right process, you're going to document it, and then you're going, so you can share it with other people. It's easy to delegate if you've got that documentation. You can create templates, checklists, meeting agendas, everything that you need as part of that process. And then you can automate as much as possible by introducing software. So back in the day, I used to do this on paper. So we would map out the process using different colored Post-it notes for when we needed a template or a checklist, when we needed an action and things like that. So this was our accounts process, and it starts by getting the books in. Actually, it starts before that. It starts by contacting the client to remind them to send their books into you. Now, we don't have paper books these days. We do everything electronically online, but the process is the same. And even this one, yeah, it's a bit of paper. And personally, I still prefer to do my process mapping on paper or on the whiteboard, but you can get software that does exactly that too. Yeah. the only one of the very few things. I also like a paper to-do list. But my thought process, I like to be able to see it like that. Top tip is we generally sort of, it's old, it's rolls of IKEA paper, but you can also use old wallpaper, anything you like. We stick Post-it notes on, we move it around, we involve the whole team in the process, and when we're happy with it, we use sellotape before you pick it up and do anything. Take a photograph of it, use sellotape to stick it on, because as soon as you pick it up, if you were to do it like this, then the Post-it notes drop off everywhere. Please learn from my mistakes. So what do? We start by looking at where we are today. We map the process where we are today, mapped, and we then assess it for where we can improve it. And I involve the whole team on that. We go backwards and forwards because they see different things that I don't see. Our business manager is the one who liaises with the clients. Our team prepared the accounts themselves. So we need to agree between us what's going to happen. We make the decision. We then implement it with one client first. I say that it actually depends how revolutionary the changes are. If they're just subtle changes, just go ahead and do it. But if there are big changes or introducing new processes, new software, start with one client first. Your favorite client, the one who's really easy to deal with, says yes to everyone. Once you've got through any teething problems with them, roll it up to 2, 5, 10, many more, all across the board. Make sure that you're winning, and then you go back and improve the process. This is an iterative process. You probably want to be remapping your key processes every year or so as you grow, because we're not standing still, remember. At least I hope you're not standing still. That's why you're here, to learn about scaling up. Identify the training that's needed for your team, identify the templates, checklists, agendas that you need, and also identify where you are the bottleneck. We're trying to take you out of this equation as much as possible. So as far as possible, I don't get involved in accounts until the final review. Now, if I had somebody within the team who could do that, which I did in Hudson Accountants, Minerva Accountants isn't quite like that yet. I'm still doing all the accounts review. That will change. The other thing I would say is add in opportunities to provide a wow to your clients at the same time. So what can you do that would make you seem better than your competitors, easier to deal with than your competitors, more friendly than your competitors, whatever it is, add in some sort of wow client service as you go and build that into the system. Little things like, if you have an office, clients come in, you offer them a cup of tea. You could also offer that if they want to recharge their phone or something. We just kept spare mix of chargers and receptions that people could do that. How often have you been out and about for the whole day and you're looking at 2% battery on your phone, especially if, like me, you're an Apple user? So think how you could make that nicer for your clients. Our compliance, I would go back to the compliance, and before you buy a new software, make sure you're using all the features of your existing software. So work out what you need to do, work out what your existing software can do, and fill the gap. Because quite often we buy software for a purpose, and we use it for that, and we don't look at what else it can do. So save yourself some money, look what else your software can do. We use Bright Manager at the moment as our practice management software, and I'm aware we're only using maybe about half the features. Some of them aren't useful to us, but I need to make sure that we are using all the ones that are useful to us. And then we can look at how can we add value. So I've written up, I'm not going to spend lots of time on advisory now. There's a whole book on it. It's a cheap way to to do that. So we've got the compliance information completed. You can't do advisory without decent information to start with. So how do we add value? So I've talked about adding wild client service. You need to decide, do you want to do advisory? So it could be what I call pre-advisory, which things like management accounts, which you can produce out of Xero and reports, or you can add on some software like Fathom, things like that. You can provide cash flow forecasts. You've got Fluidly within Xero itself, although that's a little bit clunky, but it might serve the purpose you want to. In medium term, cash flow forecasts. So Float and Fluidly are great for 3 months. Futurely, Fathom, and so on are great for the medium term. So sort of 3-5 year forecasts. Though producing management accounts themselves isn't offering advice, it's offering information to help make better decisions, but it's not actually helping to suggest to clients what decisions they can make. If you want to offer full advisory, then you could be looking at software like Clarity HQ is very good. And Fathom as well. So only 2 that I would class as proper full advisory software, Fathom and Clarity HQ. You need to decide if you actually want to offer advisory or if you just want to offer a little bit of advice as you go along, sort of reactively. Do you want to do it proactively or reactively? And don't just tell me proactive and not go actively seeking for things like that. Excuse me. Sorry, I need my tea to keep speaking to you. You don't have to do advisory. There is plenty of scope for good compliance work. It will change over the years with technology, with AI and things like that, but we need to be using AI within our own software. So if, going back to the compliance, you are probably already using AI and machine learning, optical character recognition, and natural language programming. It's all part of Dext, Apron, HubDoc, Xero. It's all in there already. So congratulations, you've probably been using it for more than 10 years already, depending on how long you've been in practice. We want to be looking at, once we've got the back office system sorted, or probably at the same time, because that's how life works, you want to be looking at generating more leads. So we need systems and processes to do that as well. Now, you will operate, your marketing will be most effective if you have an ideal client. So build your ideal client avatar. The Numbers Business course and the book have loads of ideas on that. So you need to know who your ideal client is, and then map out their customer journey. How do they first hear? Where do they hang out? How do they first hear about you? How do you then draw them into your business, draw them closer to you? So the dating analogy is, where do they hang out? Where do they first see you? Do they catch a glimpse of you across the room? Do they see your profile on a dating app? Things like that. And then how do you get to know them? What do you say to them first? And then how do you build that conversation up to a first date, second date, regular dates, proposal, marriage, whatever you want to do? We need to get engaged with these clients. So we are automating our marketing, our lead generation. We're also going to be looking at automating our actual engagement with them. So once we've had that discovery, once they come in, we have the discovery call. We do that with scripts. We have a spreadsheet for quotations, but there's also software for quotations, such as Go Proposal and Practice Ignition, and Socket will help with that. as part of, but it's not just the software. As part of our process, we send some, what I hope are helpful emails. They're already mapped out. And we also send a welcome gift, because I don't know about you, but after wading through all the paperwork that clients have to complete when they come on board, yeah, they've got to do an engagement letter, a 64-8, a direct debit, loads and loads of stuff. So we bring back the personal approach with a little gift, and we tend to use chocolates from a local manufacturer. However, on hot weather, they won't send them out because they know that they're likely to melt and not be at their best. So we do have alternatives for when it's hot weather that won't wait. So build in that human touch as well. The humans are part of the system. And then we need to get their data in. Now, we consider there's a 100-day onboarding window. It's really depends, though. If your clients come in and we have somebody who comes and had 4 years of overdue accounts. So in that 100-day window, we had completed 4 years worth of accounts and so on. So an opportunity to prove yourself. Others come in, they've only just set up their business, they want an accountant. So it's making sure that there's some sort of thing there to keep them, give them something helpful at that same point. So we've got, sorry, I've just realised we've still got the ticker going for the Xenon Connect. Oh well. You can see the nice offering from Gareth's Xenon Connect partnership program. And we then have the opportunity to nurture them for those 100 days. This is where our business manager has her nurturing program, just making sure they're okay, all paperwork, and you are leaping onto calls to, if they're new to zero or something, then there's not to be done. Once they're in the system, then things should be a lot easier for them. So it's an arbitrary 100 days. Some need a little bit more, some are set up far faster. So that's all about the client, but what about you? You are a person too, and we need to make sure that you are in the best state possible in order to serve those clients, to serve your team that you're building, because you are now growing your business. So it's making sure your personal time management is at its best, that you are doing what you are good at, and delegating everything else. You are doing what's valuable and delegating everything else, but you're looking after your health. And we have a 10-point checklist to make sure that you are keeping all areas of your life in balance. You'll have seen all sorts of work-life balance wheels, but we have our own that make sure that every area of your life stays in balance. We don't have a wonky wheel, because you are a person too. You might, as your business grows, your role will change as well. And that's one of the things. We're assuming that as your role grows, you become the managing director. But actually, you might not want to be running the business. You might prefer to be the technical person, the best technical person. So what you might do is get somebody else in who is good at running businesses, and you continue in your technical area. You might get somebody in who's good at winning new business. You continue as the technical person. It's your business, you choose your role, but don't do everything, and make sure you get the right people in to take the things that you're not so good at, or get some training for the things that you're not so good at, which is where we come in and coaching and helping business owners to get the most out of themselves as well as out of their business. And then you've got your team. We can look at where you get the best people and best holes. And so if you read the E-Myth by Michael Gerber, sorry, I should put a copy to show you. E-Myth by Michael Gerber talks about how you can start with an organization chart for your business, even when it's just you. You put in all the roles that need to be completed, and then you put names in the roles. So on day one, your name is everywhere, and then gradually you work out better names for those. So it might be that you have an IT department, which is you. But then you start to outsource that to an IT support company, and we have a fabulous one called PC Dial. Been working with them, yes, all my businesses now, and my previous one as well, Hudson Accountants, used to use them. So look at gradually outsourcing all those functions or delegating them within your own team. And when I talk about your team, you know, that might be employees, it might be subcontractors, it might be an outsourced function. It's your business, it's up to you, and you set it up how you want to. But please make sure it's systemized so it works without you. When you've got people, then you start to need more processes. So first we need recruitment, and there's a similar thing when looking for subcontractors and outsourcers. There's that sort of assessment thing. It's just a variation. You need an induction procedure, whether they're employees or outsourcers. You need to show them how you like things done. You can provide them with procedures, checklists, whatever you need. You need a contract. With employees, you need a disciplinary and an appraisal procedure and much more besides. What happens with holiday, sickness, expenses and things like that. But the most important thing is, how do you make your team feel valued? Whatever the legal relationship, they're your team, so how do you make them feel valued and special? And then last but not least, I want to be looking at pricing. So setting the right prices, how do you communicate those prices to your clients? And we have scripts, well, we have methods of calculating right prices, and then scripts for how to make the changes and things like that. Do you put the prices on your website? How do you stack them up as packages? Things like that. How do you then upsell by looking for the windows of opportunity with your existing clients? And just reviewing all your clients to make sure you are spotting any opportunities on that. But the other thing is also making sure they're not paying for things they're not using, because we're honest. Yes, we want to take advantage of anything they're not doing, but we also don't want to be charging for things that they're not using. So we build a series of scripts and templates like that as well. So some actions for you. What systems do you need to document? I know all of them, but which are the most important? So which repeat jobs would benefit from systems? That's where we get the most value. So the Michael Gerber things, you systemize everything in sites. It can be run by monkeys. We're small businesses. We don't need to systemize everything. It would be lovely, but you spend so much time writing the procedure for something that you're only going to do once. So yes, we have help sheets for clients. So if they ask a question, we've got that again and again, and we're building those into videos. We have help sheets and procedures for the teams. But at some point there are gaps. So make sure that your team know your vision, your values, and that will help them to know how to fill any gaps where there's not a full process. So set up workflows where you can, take yourself out where you're a bottleneck, delegate and control via software. So you're starting to manage your business by the numbers. A little bit about me, my team. So yes, we've got the Minerva Accountants, the coaching business, and Minerva Technology. I'm also on ICAEW Council and chair of the local ICAEW network. So lots being done in that 35 hours per week. I enjoy my life. I want you to enjoy it too as you scale up your business. And for more information, then we've got connect with me on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, I'm Della Hudson FCA. And then if you go onto our website, hudsonbusiness.co.uk/accountants, you will find all sorts of resources for accountants. So I'll start with the free ones. Sign up for our weekly top tips, our Better Business webinars. We've got the 2 books, a relatively cheap purchase, and then if your budget will stretch a little bit further, we've got the Numbers Business online course, which we're now moving to a pick and mix, so you can do mix and match the coaching, the individual webinars and so on. We've got the ScaleUp Blueprint course. So the Numbers Business, those who've been in business of 1 to 5 years. The ScaleUp Blueprint, we say, is 3 years plus. If you've got a single issue, then come along, join our group or our individual coaching. So it's all there for you. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you found a few useful nuggets in that. Any questions, please do get in touch. I'm Della Hudson FCA on most social media channels. Take care. Bye-bye.